At the start of our story, we see an old man coughing and saying, "I am an earthling from a civilized society. I came from a civilized society." Just then, a little girl enters his house with some food in her hand. Seeing the old man like that, she says, "Mr. Seo, are you okay? My mother sent this for you." We learn that this old man's name is Seo. He thanks the little girl. Then while placing the food on the ground, little girl replies, "Not a problem. Please get well soon and make some more soap." Saying that, she leaves the house and walks back toward her home in a snowstorm. This old Seo is an earthling, an inhabitant of a civilized world. It's been 50 years since he fell into this cursed world. They were on their way to a workshop with Director Kim and other company employees when they were suddenly swept away in a landslide. When they came to their senses, they found themselves in a strange world. A fox as big as a house with 3 tails, a large red-scaled snake with 2 heads, and beings wielding swords flying through the sky. It was a world like the martial arts novels he occasionally read. Although it was a strange world, most of his colleagues probably did quite well, except for him. Among the 7 people who fell into the martial world that day, within just 3 days of their arrival, destinies began to unfold. The sage-like beings who descended from above were in awe of his co-workers' mythical talents, and took each one of them into the sky. Only he and Director Kim remained in this world. To be honest, they had hopes that something special would happen to them too. But neither Director Kim nor he had any special abilities. Without knowing much about this world, all they could do was manual labor. For 6 months, the two worked menial jobs in a busy marketplace, earning their meals. Until one day, Director Kim could take it no longer. He told Seo that he couldn't live like this anymore and used all his money to buy a third-rate martial arts book sold on the streets. Everyone laughed at him, but within 3 months, he mastered it and became a full-fledged martial artist. He worked for the nation and learned more and more advanced martial arts. After he became a powerful warrior, Director Kim left for the Jianghu, leaving Seo behind. Seo just hoped that something special could happen to him as well, but until the end, nothing happened to him at all. After 50 years, he is now just an old man dying from a common cold. He coughs blood, repeating that he is from Earth. He has tried his hardest to live. He learned the language, learned to read and write, worked as a laborer to make a living, bought a small plot of land, and built his own house. He started making some decent money when he began making soap using lye. In this medieval time, soap was essentially a new concept. However, even that ended after some thieves stole the method of making his soap and started producing their own. These thugs booted Seo out of the market. Now he is waiting for his death. Having been rejected by this world, a frustrated Seo asks the world, "What do you want from me? Even though I tried my hardest, what must I do?" He starts crying, asking why he couldn't have been selected even if he was not special, and why he has to continue losing everything. Now Seo no longer has the energy to keep his eyes open. As his eyes start to close, he hopes that if he just had a bit more power, maybe, just maybe, he might have had more opportunities. Lying on his bed, sick with a cold, Seo's life ends. That was how he died, and how, with a bright light, he opened his eyes again. He slowly looks down at his body. It's not a hand full of wrinkles and lines. It is a young hand, full of vitality and life. He was wearing something clearly different from the clothes of this world, the blue shirt and sweatpants he had worn on Earth. He looked around, trying to grasp the situation. Then he saw Director Kim, Chief O, Section Chief John, Deputy Manager Kang, Deputy Manager O, and Manager Kim. Seo was shocked to see them. Now he finally realized he hadn't come to this world powerless. He had gained the power of regression. This was Seo's first regression. Director Kim, with half his hair shaved off, looked around and asked, "What's happening?" "We were just on our way to a workshop." He didn't know where they were, but Seo knew. This was the first day. They had just landed in this strange world. Seo remembered how they ended up here. They were in an SUV, going to the workshop, when they got caught in a landslide, and then something flashed. It was a 50-year-old memory, so it was a bit hazy, and even Seo couldn't remember clearly. While he was thinking this, suddenly someone called from behind, "Hey, Deputy Manager Seo." But Seo was still lost in his thoughts, wondering, now that I have regressed, how should I live? Usually, in regression novels, people live well using their future knowledge. But all I know is making soap. Suddenly, the guy from behind grabbed Seo's shoulder and shouted, "Manager Seo Yun-hyun!" Seo snapped out of his daydream at the shout. He looked back and saw it was Section Chief John. Seo said, trying to explain that he was a bit startled. But suddenly, with a swish, Section Chief Jian slapped Seo across the face. Everyone present was shocked to see that. Section Chief Jian shouted, "Deputy Manager Seo, you bastard, you dozed off while driving on the mountainside. You almost got us all killed. SEO stood there dazed from the slap. He had forgotten this deputy manager title. It was a title he hadn't heard in so long that he didn't realize Section Chief Jian was referring to him. Section Chief Jian looked at Seo angrily and asked, Manager Seo, do you want to lose your job the moment we get back? Hearing that, Seo remembered the face he hadn't seen in a long time. Section Chief Jeon Myong-hoon. He was the nephew of Jeon Myong-cheol, the executive director of the company Seo worked for. At 32, he had already snagged the section chief position through nepotism. When Jeon Myong-hoon was about to charge at Seo in anger, Chief O stood up and stopped him. He told Jeon it was enough because that landslide wasn't something Deputy Manager Seo could have done anything about. But Jeon shouted again, asking, Aren't you angry, Chief O? This insane jerk was dozing off. That's why we're in this situation. Hearing that, Seo remembered that he definitely had dozed off while driving. But the reason he was dozing off was because John had dumped all his work on Seo the day before the workshop. The work John had been putting off, forcing Seo to stay up all night. Thinking about it again, Seo also remembered that originally, the one in charge of driving was Jian. Originally, he was supposed to drive. Pointing at Seo, Jian shouted, This stupid bastard! We're stranded because of him. But Seo was slowly starting to recall his memories from 50 years ago. Back then, Seo was so shocked he didn't understand what was happening. So, unwittingly, he apologized to Jian. He even thought it was his own fault. Then he went on to spend the next 50 years just like that, apologizing to people, even when a group of bandits trampled over him and took his belongings, when a damned martial artist mocked him, or when a regional official took everything he had in the name of taxes. He kept apologizing. But there was one thing Seo realized after years of holding it in. Sure, he had to keep his temper in front of those he couldn't handle, but not in front of everyone. Seo stood up, and with a straight face said, Section Chief John, I know you're mad, but now's not the time to be pointing fingers. Hearing that, John got furious and lunged at him. He punched Seo again, shouting, Are you asking for a fight? This punch made Seo realize that he didn't need to kneel before someone he could handle. He turned around and punched John in the face, sending him flying. Seeing that, everyone present was too shocked. They could not believe their eyes. Seo continued punching John. In his past life, Seo had been beaten up by martial artists countless times. He was beaten up by bandits while gathering herbs in the mountains, by more bandits during years of bad harvest, and even by officials because he couldn't pay his taxes. Now, Seo sat on Jian, not giving him even a chance to fight back. Seeing this, everyone froze in their place, not knowing what to do. In that world of violence, Seo was able to gain something that these people lacked. He gained violence. If one hits someone in the eyes, their fear is amplified. And after being beaten up like this, only 2 words instinctively leave opponents' mouths. I'm sorry. Those were the exact words Jian said when Seo hit him in the eyes. Seo may not have the mythical talents mentioned by those transcendent individuals, or the amazing martial arts that would make him famous in the martial arts world, but now he did have the ability to change fate. Director Kim, Chief O, Deputy Manager Kang, Deputy Manager O, and Manager Kim, all were looking at Seo with fearful eyes. Among them, Director Kim spoke up with a trembling voice. Deputy Manager Seo, no matter what, how could you beat a fellow colleague to that extent? Seo didn't argue and immediately accepted it, saying, Yes, you're right, Director Kim. I just got so angry at the moment. I apologize for startling everyone. Since Seo would never see any of the others again anyway, he bowed neatly to Director Kim and the other employees and apologized, saying that since he was the one driving, he was sorry for not doing more at that time. Director Kim told Seo that sure, Section Chief Jian had been a bit harsh, and Seo couldn't really have done anything about the landslide. Even then, Jian overreacted. He asked Seo to apologize to Jian directly. Knowing he would continue seeing Director Kim, Seo followed his words because Director Kim would become one of the strongest martial artists there once he started learning. If Seo supported him as much as he could in this life, he was sure he would get something out of it too. That meant he needed to get on Director Kim's good side now. Seo turned to Jian, and while offering a helping hand, apologized, saying his reaction was not warranted. Jian, whose face was swollen from Seo's beating, looked angry and was about to crush him, but he stopped after seeing Seo look at him with dead eyes and no fear. After everyone calmed down, Director Kim looked toward the forest and suggested, Why don't we try to get out of these woods and look for a village? Seo agreed because that was the logical thing to do, but he knew that here, immortals flew wild, trying to secure their immortality, and the only rule that reigned in this land was, the strong devours the weak. The people of this place, the Murim, fought with swords for wealth and honor. This forest's name was Ascension Path. There was no village, city, or nation anywhere around here. SEO suggested to Director Kim, since the sun is going to set soon, why don't we set up a shelter somewhere safe? Director Kim thought CEO's suggestion was right but asked, what about the car? There's quite a lot of things in there that we packed for the workshop. In that car, there were many things they could use, but only CEO knew they wouldn't be able to find the car. He also knew they wouldn't believe him. So, he decided to just let them look for the car instead of wasting his energy trying to convince them. He suggested that they should split up then. One team could look for shelter, and the other could look for the car. They would meet back here before it got completely dark. After a few hours, CEO started a fire in a cave near the place they first arrived. While eating, a black-haired girl told the others that she didn't get it. We were caught in a landslide while we were in a car, so how did we end up here while the car is gone? Director Kim agreed with the girl, saying he didn't get it either. Everyone was sitting around the fire eating. Pointing at the food, a girl commented, "This tastes like chestnuts." Hearing that, CEO asked her if it was crunchy. He told them he had a lot of it, so they could have as much as they wanted. Hearing that, Director Kim laughed and said, "It's a pretty serious situation, but thanks to Manager Seo, we're having fun." He praised Seo, saying, "I knew you were this dependable even back in the company." While everyone was eating, Seo noticed Jaeon sleeping in a corner, refusing to eat anything. Director Kim spoke a little louder so John could hear. "Manager Seo, if I remember correctly, you were tired while driving because you had to work late yesterday." Others agreed with Director Kim. A brown-haired girl told Director Kim, "Their manager is really diligent." A red-haired girl also praised CEO, saying, "It feels like we're camping thanks to this cave manager CEO found." CEO knew they were right, because in his past life, they only found this place after being lost in the woods for hours. But he acted modest, and told them he was just lucky. Hearing that, everyone laughed and told Seo he could just take the compliment. CEO also thought that he should enjoy this moment because tonight would be the last time they could laugh like this. The next morning, trembling in fear, CEO offered his greetings to the Lord of the Forest. The Lord of the Forest he was greeting was a huge seven-tailed fox with red glowing eyes. The fox looked at Seo and with a smile said, "You have quite a unique scent for a human. Despite having lived thousands of years, I have never smelled humans like you."